Aquarius, welcome to your February 2026 horoscope. My name's Adeana. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this video, we will be going over all of the energy you will be navigating for the month of February. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. Now, let's get right into it. So, I do break these horoscopes down by week, and I've selected a chart for each week to give you a bit of a visual. So, coming right into the month, there's so much energy in Aquarius, which is in your first house. So there's quite a lot of focus on you, your life direction. You could experiencing, you maybe even be experiencing things with your body, your appearance, like you may be wanting to change your appearance. Sometimes I find Mars in the first house can bring like muscle aches and pains, and it really all depends on your relationship to these personal planets. But there's quite a lot of focus and energy in that first house. Now, right as soon as we come into the month on the first, excuse me, we have the full moon in Leo at 13 degrees, which is in your seventh house of relationships. Now, we are going to have the nodes enter Leo and Aquarius come July, and that's going to bring a lot of change when it has to do with you and your one on one connections. That all really kind of begins this month. So, this month, whatever is showing up for you, that's going to give you an idea of what the next 2 years are going to look like as far as these massive changes, massive karmic changes that have to do with you and your one on one connections. I will be posting a separate video getting into the nodes in Leo and Aquarius. And how that will affect all 12 rising signs. Make sure you watch for that. But also check out my 2026 horoscope because in that video for Aquarius, I get into kind of the eclipses and the Mercury retrogrades a little bit deeper and kind of all the energy that you'll be navigating for the year. So make sure you check out that video. Now, this is going to be the last lunation in Leo that we have that's not an eclipse for the next 2 years. Um, all other all other lunations, new moons or full moons are going to be eclipses, which then are going to be more powerful and bring more change. So we also want to be mindful of that. And also too, a full moon in Leo, like if there's anything that you've been navigating the last 6 months around relationships, there could be like a culmination point at this time. On the third, we have Uranus stationing direct. Now, sometimes this isn't really even felt on a independent level, but on an individual level, it can be something that's more felt collectively. I do think this month is going to be big for weather storms, power outages, and this when Uranus stations, there can be, something around, maybe a storm or power outage somewhere. So we do want to watch for that. On the 5th, we have Mercury square Uranus. And so all this kind of energy that's in your first is going to square Uranus in your fourth. Like this can bring something you're having to address around home and family, property, and real estate. It can also bring maybe something that's kind of going on with you, your nervous system, possibly anxiety. Um, Something around your body. It could be unexpected. It could be very sudden. But it may be, yeah, something may be coming up also too throughout the month that you're having to address when it does have to do with like you physically or even mentally, psychologically. Too. So yeah, just kind of be mindful and aware of that. On the 6th, we've got Mercury entering Pisces. So we will find that as we move through the month, all this energy in Aquarius shifts into Pisces, which is in your second house of money, finances, and material possessions. On the 8th, we've got Venus square Uranus. This is where there could be something around your appearance, your looks, maybe wanting to change something. I don't recommend getting a haircut this day because you could tell them to like cut your hair one way and it looks completely different and not what you want. But this is a time where you may be wanting to change something about your appearance or your style. Once we get to the second week of February, we have Venus entering Pisces. And then on the 11th, we have Mercury entering shadow. So we're going to have a Mercury retrograde this month at the end of the month. We do want to pay attention to what is showing up once we get to the 11th and onward, because whatever we're kind of navigating, especially for you around your money and your finances and personal values, there's going to be something that you're revisiting and reevaluating come the end of the month into March. On the 12th, we have Mercury conjunct the North Node. This is where there can be whatever changes you've been going through when it has to do with your money, your finances, and your personal values, and your partner's finances, loans, debt, taxes, inheritance. Also, psychological healing and transformation is in the eighth house. And this is a time where there can be just some powerful insight, conversation, clarity, or something to help you through whatever it is you've been navigating in this area of life. When we have the personal planets form a conjunction to the nodes, this is where there is kind of something around the story that is playing out in this area of life. So it is a day to just kind of pay attention to what is showing up for you. On the 13th, we have Saturn entering Aries. So you have Aries in the third house of communication, reading, speaking, writing. The third house is also your local community, neighbors, neighborhood, local travel, vehicles, siblings, cousins. There's quite a lot in that third house. And now having, Saturn and Neptune here, we're all kind of going through this reset and rebirth of some kind. Also, if you want, check out the Saturn Neptune transit video that I have on my channel. I also get into all 12 rising signs, but I talk a lot more about this if you want to kind of watch that to get a better idea of this energy. But this is in your third house. So where Saturn is transiting, Saturn can bring more responsibility, more maturity. And this is your mindset. This is vehicles. This is how you connect within your community and your neighbors and neighborhood. And so there is something around that that is going to shift and change over the next couple of years. Then we get to the third week of February, and on the 16th, we have the Sun forming a square to Uranus and Mercury trine Jupiter. So when we have a Sun square to Uranus, this can again be something with electrical systems in our body, especially because at that point the Sun's still going to be in the first house. So there could be something around your nervous system or anxiety. We could see more collectively around storms or kind of riots that are going on, like what's going on in Minnesota right now. There could be more of that. Mercury trine Jupiter can bring in like really positive conversations or information of some kind. Um, Mercury is going to be in your second house of money and finances. So there might be something really positive around that that is coming in that you want to be aware of and mindful of and pay attention to. Maybe some conversations you're having or uh maybe you're getting some information around money. I do feel like though with this Jupiter retrograde, I don't know why I feel like this is for a lot of people, like a lot of the signs that whatever we've been struggling to process on an internal level, I feel like something shifts this month and and we are able to kind of process it in a new way. Um, yeah, I don't know why I feel like that though. On the 17th, we've got the solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees. So again, this is in your first house. We want to pay attention to what is showing up at this time because this is gonna give you a little sneak peek as to what the changes are going to be for the next 2 years. So very powerful, especially too if you have your ascendant degree point at those end degrees of Aquarius. And then we have Venus conjunct the North Node. So, again, whatever you've been navigating around money and finances, this is a day where there could be some really beautiful support coming in, or something coming in to just help you navigate whatever change you've already kind of been in for the last year. On the 18th, we have the Sun entering Pisces. Excuse me. On the 20th, we have the Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries. Um, and again, check out that other video because I get really deep into this energy. But this is, again, a reset for everyone. And we're going to feel the energy shift for sure here. And we also want to remember, too, that Mars transits are going to feel a lot different having Saturn and Neptune in Aries. On the 22nd, we've got Venus trine Jupiter. I love this because this is like really beautiful support in the mix of chaos. So if you are experiencing something a bit heavy around money and finances, there might be just a bit of tension relieved somehow at this time through maybe some type of support that comes in. Then we get to the final week of February, and on the 25th, we've got Mercury stationing retrograde in Pisces. So there is something that you are reevaluating around your money and finances and having to address. Again, pay attention to what's shown up this month because that'll give you an idea as to what exactly you're kind of having to address and reevaluate. On the 27th, we've got the Sun forming a conjunction to the North Node, which I love. I do love when the Sun and the Moon connect to the nodes because this is when there's usually some really powerful insight or support that comes in, or just something that comes in around the change that the nodes are activating. And then we have the Mars square to Uranus. This is going to be intense. This is definitely going to be storms, power outages, craziness in the world. For us on an individual level, Mars rules that third house. So this is a day I say, please watch your driving, watch your traveling, don't take any chances. Act responsibly, which Saturn may force you to if you fight it. So yeah, this is a day we just want to watch for like accidents, especially to Mars being in your first house. This is a day again too where maybe um there's anxiety or there's something going on with the circulation in the body or something like that because Uranus kind of rules the electrical systems in our body and it connecting to Mars in that first house. Yeah, so again, a day to be mindful, a day to be careful, a day to tread lightly. On the 28th, we've got Venus conjunct Mercury retrograde. This is a day where we want to make sure the conversations that we're having are clear, there's no misunderstandings. We want to make sure that we are understanding others and others are understanding what we're saying so that there's no confusion. Um, but it could be something very insightful with that Mercury retrograde, or it could be something that is misunderstood that you end up having to go back on and clear up down the road. And it could have to do with your money and finances being in the second house. And then we also have on the 28th Mars activating the eclipse point. Because remember, we have that solar eclipse at 28 degrees of Aquarius. And then Mars comes and activates that same eclipse point. So whatever was going on at that time, if there was anything significant, just know that this is a time period where there can be another activation of it or something else can come in around kind of what you've already been navigating. All right, Aquarius. Well, I hope this helps you navigate the energy for February. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content and align with my energy. And I will connect with you in the next one.